بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم اجعلنا من أهل القرآن الذين هم أهلك وخاصتك. اللهم ألبسنا به الحلل وأسكننا به الظلل وادفع عنا به النقم واجعلنا به عند النعماء من الشاكرين وعند البلاء من الصابرين. Another weekly dose of the Quran, and today inshallah I'll be sharing some excerpts of an article that I've been writing. Inshallah the article will be published بإذن الله today inshallah ta'ala. It is about the spectators and the actors in the life of Prophet Musa alayhi salam. So like everything in life, life has people who are actively trying to make change and influence others and mobilize others. There are active people who are doing, amazing work. And there are people who are just spectators, passive listeners, audience, people who just watch things as they unfold without trying to change, without trying to influence, without trying to improve their life and other lives. So, subhanAllah, in the life of Musa alayhi salam, we see a lot of people around him. And here's the question for you guys. Who are the actors in the life of Musa alayhi salam? Who are the people other than Musa alayhi salam who played an influential role in his life, who moved the needle, who contributed sometimes one or two acts, sometimes even it's a position, it is a statement, it is a information they carry it from one location to the other. The life of Musa alayhi salam was filled of people who did amazing things, and subhanallah, by this we understand that subhanallah, victory and the success and guidance and the ultimate victory in the hereafter, it does not center around one person only. It's not a one-man show. The success and the dignity and the honor of the Ummah is a collective effort. It is when every actor understands and assumes their purpose in this life, subhanallah. So Amna shared with us Harun alayhi salam. Of course, Prophet Harun alayhi salam was one of the main actors in the life of Prophet Musa, and Prophet Musa made dua. Prophet Musa understood his weakness as a person, as a leader, that he was stuttering. He could not even carry a sentence without stuttering. He had this difficulty with public speaking, and he made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The dua of Prophet Musa referring to Harun was mentioned 2 times in the Quran. One time Prophet Musa said, وَأَخِي هَارُونُ هُوَ أَفْصَحُ مِنِّي لِسَانًا فَأَرْسِلْهُ مَعِيَ رِدْ أَنْ يُصَدِّقُنِي. Like, Ya Allah, Harun is more fluent. He has a tongue that's better than my tongue. So Musa understood his limitations, subhanallah. And another time, Prophet Musa made dua, and I think we described this dua here. قال رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي واجعل لي وزيرا من أهلي هارون أخي. Beautiful. So we have both of his mothers. We have his biological mother, Musa. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inspired Musa, وَأَوْحَيْنَا إِلَى Musa أَنْ أَرْضِعِيهِ فَإِذَا خِفْتِ عَلَيْهِ فَأَلْقِيهِ فِي الْيَمِّ. We inspired the mother of Musa to breastfeed him. When you are afraid on him, فَإِذَا خِفْتِ عَلَيْهِ فَأَلْقِيهِ فِي الْيَمِّ وَلَا تَخَافِي وَلَا تَحْزَنِي. When Allah inspired the mother of Musa alayhi salam to trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, trust the plan of Allah, trust that when Allah promises us with something, it will definitely happen. فرددناه إلى أمه كي تقر عينها ولا تحزن ولتعلم أن وعد الله حق ولكن أكثرهم لا يعلمون. So that was the mother of Musa alayhi salam, and also the other one was Imra'at Fir'aun. Imra'at Fir'aun, who protected Musa alayhi salam with the weapon of love, who basically fell in love with that baby who looked different than her skin color, who was weird, came from this river out of nowhere, but she protected him. وقالت امرأة فرعون قرة عين لي ولك لا تقتلوه عسى أن ينفعنا أو نتخذه ولدا. So subhanallah, the wife of the Pharaoh was a major actor in the life of Musa alayhi salam, and she protected Musa alayhi salam, and basically was an influential figure in the life of Musa alayhi salam. She is the one who actually raised Musa. Okay, so you see how the idea of actors versus spectators, it's a very important Mimi, it's a very important concept to ask ourselves with every calamity, with every challenge in life, with every difficulty that it could be a communal difficulty like the events in Gaza. It could be a personal tragedy like in your life, or it could be something in between, something affecting you and other people's life. And we choose to be either actors, people who are actively trying to change, to move the needle, to influence ourselves and others, and we could choose to be bystanders. And of course, the message that the Quran is teaching us is never be bystanders. Never be bystanders. Don't be that person who only was a spectator, like somebody watching a soccer field or a football game or basketball or whatever, and they just watch and they cheer for others without being engaged. And guess what? Every one of us have their own game in life. Every one of us have their own contribution in life. It's not that we have to be like Musa alayhi salam. We have to be the leader. No. You see that the story of Musa, many of those actors were not leaders, but they were leaders within their own circles. They were influential within their own, subhanallah, within their own circle or within their own community. And that's what the Prophet ﷺ teaches us. كلكم راع وكلكم مسؤول عن رعيته. Each one among you is a shepherd, and each one among you is responsible for their flock. Fatin is sharing with us Al-Khidr. Al-Khidr alayhi salam was a major actor in the life of Musa alayhi salam. Al-Khidr, the difference between him and other actors is that he had a connectedness. He was connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah gave him that very special knowledge. فوجدا عبدا من عبادنا آتيناه رحمة من عندنا وعلمناه من لدنا علما. He is somebody that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given him very special, very unique type of knowledge, and that was the knowledge of the unseen. Some of the unseen in certain events, of course. Al-Khidr have seen certain events, and he was given that knowledge that nobody else was given, subhanallah. And this resulted in Musa alayhi salam learning a lot of things and being introduced to some of the unseen. Allah tells us in the Quran, وَلَا يُحِيطُونَ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنْ عِلْمِهِ إِلَّا بِمَا شَاءَ. Allah does not give any of his creation full knowledge about the knowledge that he got, except إِلَّا بِمَا شَاءَ, except when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses to give, subhanallah. Okay, these are other. Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Thanks for joining. So there are many actors in the life of Musa alayhi salam. Who are the other actors? Come on, Bismillah, you guys. The story of Musa is a well-known story. We have heard it multiple times. We mentioned that the story of Musa is mentioned in 29 juz'u out of 30 juz'u in the Quran. We mentioned that the story of Musa alayhi salam. We already said Al-Khidr. Thank you, Hania. Jazakumullah khair. Any other actor in the life of Musa alayhi salam?
Positive or negative?
Doesn't my brother is asking, does it have to be a positive actor or negative actor? It doesn't have to be. It could be either one. Yeah, mean. As-Samiri. The Asya, we mentioned Aya, we mentioned Harun. Thank you so much, guys. You're like, come on, I need more actors. So Qarun is one of the actors, right? Qarun is a traitor, is the guy who betrayed the community of Musa, and he was basically a sellout. He was a spy. He became an agent to Fir'aun, supporting or working on Fir'aun's agenda, despite being among them. And subhanallah. So Qarun was an example of a bad actor, of a negative actor. We have also As-Samiri. As-Samiri, who was also from the community of Musa alayhi salam, and he also took advantage of the absence of Musa, and he invented a god, and he had financial gains, financial benefit from the lack of leadership or the vacuum in leadership that the community of Musa had, subhanallah. So As-Samiri was the opportunistic guy who will wait for problems to happen, for fitnas, for tribulations to happen, so that he can take advantage of it, subhanallah. And again, the question, it's not a story. These are not events that we read about. The question is to ask ourselves, if major events are happening in our life or in the life of the Ummah, are we spectators or are we actors? Are we positive actors or are we negative actors? Subhanallah. You know, the bystander effect is the real effect. It's when people watch events, whether happening in their own locality, like somebody being wronged or bullied or abused in front of us, and we do nothing. And sometimes the bystander effect could have different implications, is when people see global events happening and they know they can move the needle, they can donate, they can protest, they can make a phone call to an elected representative, they can do something to remove the hardship, but they choose not to, subhanallah. And that's the bystander effect, and that's what we as Muslims, we should always ask ourselves, what does Allah require from me at this time? How can I do? How can I be an actor in this incident, not be a spectator? امرأة فرعون, آسيا بنت مزاحم, she was a main actor when she said few words, and Allah highlighted her words in the Quran. وقالت امرأة فرعون قرة عين لي ولك لا تقتلوه. Like, this baby is a coolness for my eye and your eye, for my eyes and your eyes. لا تقتلوه, do not kill him. عسى أن ينفعنا, she made up a need for that kid, for that baby. عسى أن ينفعنا, maybe that baby might help us. أو نتخذه ولدا وهم لا يشعرون, or we can take him as a son, since we saw him here in this river and there's no parent who claimed him, so we can take him as a kid. So few words that Imra'at Fir'aun said, and these few words protected the life of Musa alayhi salam. You never know who could be protected, who could be saved. How many lives can you save by just your voice, by just your words, your sharing, your awareness, your donation, your civic engagement, your political engagement, your activism? Sometimes you never know who could be helped by simply us speaking up, especially, and again, I'm specifically talking to those of us who live in countries that allow some form of freedom of speech and expression, somewhere where you can move the needle, subhanAllah. Because in many Muslim countries and in many countries worldwide, this ni'mah, this privilege is not there, subhanAllah. Again, any other spectators, any other actors in the life of Musa alayhi salam? Haman, إن فرعون وهامان وجنودهما كانوا خاطئين. Haman, the minister of Fir'aun, the leader in the Fir'aun army. Haman, who mentioned, some people mentioned that he was in charge of the architecture and, you know, the construction, the major constructions. Some mentioned that he was the leader of the Fir'aun army, subhanallah. And in general, one of my teachers used to say, every Musa needs a Harun and every Fir'aun needs a Haman. Every man of faith, every man on a mission, every man and woman who are on a mission to change the world, they need some support by their side. You cannot do it by yourself. So every Musa, whenever you see a Musa, you see a Harun, subhanallah. Even Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he took Jibreel with him as a companion in the journey of Al-Isra wal Mi'raj. Even Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he was going to migration, to the migration from Mecca to Medina, he took Abu Bakr as-Siddiq as his companion. So every Musa needs a Fir'aun, every Musa needs a Harun, and every Fir'aun needs a Haman who basically is a partner in crime with him. So yes, Haman is one of the main actors. Shu'aib alayhi salam and his daughters, yep, 100%. These are also actors who basically, subhanAllah, and those actors, they were receiving help from Musa. So they were the recipient of Musa's help, of Musa's activism, of Musa's defense for their right and for their, you know, for the oppression they were having, they were experiencing. But then, subhanAllah, they themselves, they offered Musa a job, they offered Musa a shelter, and subhanAllah, Musa got married to Shu'aib's daughter, according to some narration. Some mention that this is Shu'aib, the prophet, the actual prophet, and some say it could be a different person, subhanAllah, who was living in Madian, but it may or may not be Shu'aib alayhi salam. Okay, so you see again, and the question again that we should ask ourselves, if we were to live at the time of Musa alayhi salam, if we were to see the oppression on Bani Israel, if we were to see the injustices happening, for example, on the water that Shu'aib's daughters were trying to get their water access from, what would we do? Are we going to contribute? Are we going to enjoy the good and forbid the evil? This question of spectators versus actors should haunt us in a positive way. to ask always, what does Allah want me to do? What are the skill sets? What are the blessings? What are the opportunities? What are the talents that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me? If Allah did not give you a voice, like a public speaking skill, like Musa did not have a public speaking skill, but he had other leadership skills that pushed him into his leadership role. Musa's sister, I was hoping that somebody will mention Musa's sister, but sorry, nobody mentioned it. Musa's sister was mentioned only like one location in the Quran. وقالت لأخته قصيه فبصرت به عن جنب وهم لا يشعرون. Like in Surah Al-Qasas. So when the mother of Musa told her daughter قصيه, قصيه means من قص الأثر, أي تتبع الأثر. Go and follow his footsteps until you find him. فبصرت به عن جنب وهم لا يشعرون. So she kept, and that girl, mashallah, she was very smart. You know, that older sister who knows how to take care of her younger brother, and she would protect him, and she would outsmart all the men around her. That was the sister of Musa alayhi salam, who some mentioned that it was Maryam. Her name was Maryam, other than Maryam alayhi salam bint Imran, of course. So وقالت لأخته قصيه فبصرت به عن جنب وهم لا يشعرون. And then when she found that they were struggling in the palace to breastfeed Musa alayhi salam, she offered, هل أدلكم على أهل بيت يكفلونه وهم له ناصحون? Should I show you somebody who could sponsor him, who could support him, who could basically breastfeed him? So subhanallah, few moments, critical moments in the life of Musa alayhi salam, when he was about to die out of hunger, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent again another woman, another Muslim woman who was the sister of Musa alayhi salam, and she was the means by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala returned Musa to his mother. فرددناه إلى أمه كي تقر عينها ولا تحزن ولتعلم أن وعد الله حق ولكن أكثرهم لا يعلمون. The key word here, and I would like to conclude with this, inshallah, see if there's any questions. Allah has a plan in this universe. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala willed for Musa and Bani Israel to be victorious. Allah willed for Musa to return to his mother. Allah willed for Musa to be saved. But Allah's will, Allah's wisdom, Allah's vision, Allah's plan in this life is implemented sometimes through miracles. Allah will facilitate something to happen out of people's, will. Allah wills something and it will happen, like, a tornado, some element of nature, some extra natural, events happening. Sometimes, and most of the times, Allah's will is executed, is implemented through people, through me and you, through creations of Allah who are entrusted to be actors, to avoid being spectators and jump to the activity and do something about it. And here's the question that I would like to ask ourselves. So Allah has showed us that, the Muslim Ummah is in pain. There are so many Muslims under the rubble right now, 20,000 shaheed, 20,000 martyrs in Gaza, and the number is counting. There are so many events happening to the Muslim world, and the question that we should ask ourselves, what is our role? Allah's victory will happen with us or without us. When Allah plans for something, إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون. Allah will tell something be, and it will be. But the question again, what is our role in this? So Allah planned for Musa to be saved from the Pharaoh. Allah planned for Musa and his to grow up in the palace of the Pharaoh. And this happened despite the Pharaoh closing, all the possibilities, and Pharaoh trying to kill and butcher every child from Bani Israel. And despite all the planning of the Pharaoh, Allah saved Musa alayhi salam. And Allah could have saved Musa with the help of his mother and without the help of his mother, with Imra'at Fir'aun or without it, with the sister or without it. But again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends people opportunities, and the lucky ones are the ones who really step up to the opportunity, to the responsibility, to the challenge, and those who do and fulfill their role. Again, these are not stories, these are not anecdotes so that we read and entertain ourselves. These stories in the Quran are inspirations for us to ask ourselves, are we going to assume our role? If we were to be alive at the time of Musa alayhi salam, would we do something to move the needle and contribute to his story, to his success, to his victory? Or are you going to be like spectators? In the life of Musa alayhi salam, there were many spectators. There were many passive listeners who did nothing but complain, who did nothing but question and ridicule and belittle Musa. And those are, some of them are from Bani Israel themselves. When he told them, go and slaughter a cow. وَإِذْ قَالَ مُوسَى لِقَوْمِهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَأْمُرُكُمْ أَن تَذْبَحُوا بَقَرَةً. Hey, my people, Allah wants you to go and slaughter a cow. قَالُوا أَتَتَّخِذُنَا هُزُوًا. Are you making fun of us? قَالَ أَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ أَنْ أَكُونَ مِنَ الْجَاهِلِينَ. I seek refuge in Allah from being among the ignorant. And then they started asking, tell us, how does the cow look like? Do you really think that the cow is, tell us the color, tell us what does it do, tell us specifications. So they kept asking questions, not because they wanted to do, not because they wanted to contribute. They're just asking for the sake of asking. They're used to being in complaining mode all the time. So the story of Musa shows a lot of people, most of his community were spectators. Musa alayhi salam told them later on, ادخلوا عليهم الباب فإذا دخلتموه فإنكم غالبون. So when Allah told them that Allah will reward you, you will be able to enter. يا قوم ادخلوا الأرض المقدسة التي كتب الله لكم. Allah has written, Allah has promised you with the Holy Land. Just go there and enter and you'll be victorious. And they told Musa alayhi salam, اذهب أنت وربك فقاتلا إنها هنا قاعدون. Go with your Lord and fight. We are going here, we're staying here, we're not going to go and fight. These are again the spectators who were offered the victory, like it was very close to them. Musa told them, ادخلوا عليهم الباب. Just enter the door. You may not have to fight at all. You may not have to carry a sword and you will be victorious. And they said, اذهب أنت وربك فقاتلا إنها هنا قاعدون. Again, the question that should haunt us as believers is, in the grand scheme of events happening in the Ummah, am I a spectator or am I an actor? Am I going to look back at these events in the life of the Ummah, 2023, the Gaza massacre, the Gaza genocide, and there are other of the Muslim world, not active on social media. Some of us could be only influential within our own circles. Everyone has a role, subhanAllah. You see that the sister of Musa had a very minuscule role to do, and she was documented and honored in the Quran, subhanAllah. Again, some of you guys know we have the Muslim Activism Boot Camp, where we are trying to teach methods, tricks, best practices, values, mindsets, rituals, many things that we can do in order to expand our circle of influence and assume our role and purpose in this life for the cause of Gaza, as an example, but for many other causes, for many other injustices that you might be seeing in the world and you really want to change and move the needle, inshallah. So we are registering people for the boot camp, for the training, and for the coaching program. Feel free, inshallah ta'ala, to sign up for more questions. Let me find the link, inshallah, and I will share it here in the chat for anyone who's interested. And again, the question that we ask ourselves, spectators and actors in the life of Musa alayhi salam, where do we belong? Where do we want our, when we look back at this, in the day of judgment, do we really want to be mentioned, written as a spectator or as an actor, or والعياذ billah as a negative actor? Inshallah, none of us will be, inshallah, bi'idhnillah. But here's the question that I would like us to ask ourselves. Barakallahu feekum wa jazakumullahu khairan. If anyone has any question, feel free, inshallah ta'ala, to share in the chat or unmute yourself, inshallah. I would love to hear this paradigm of spectators versus actors, and see how we can empower and motivate and inspire each other to move out of the spectator seat and do something, inshallah, for our ummah. Any other questions? Okay, Fatin is asking a very important question. How do you know if you're doing enough as an actor and fulfilling your role the best you can, or if you are even in the right role? That's a very good question. So how do you know, are you in the right role or not? And are you doing your best, subhanAllah? So first of all, just asking the question means you're on the right track. You know, the believer is the one who's always accusing himself of hypocrisy, of not doing enough. And the hypocrite is the one who thinks that they are what? They're covered, they're safe, there's nothing to worry about. So first of all, asking the question is very important, number one. Number two, this is where the power of the community and as-suhba salihah, brotherhood and sisterhood, can help. Because most of us, we did not figure out our talents, our capacity, our influence by our own. We always had good friends, good mentors, coaches, teachers who basically helped us to find our niche, to improve, to move the needle, subhanAllah. Number two. And number three, to fulfill your role, normally the answer for this question is always evolving. So Fatin, Fatin in 2020 is different than Fatin in 2023, and it's different than Fatin is in 2030. So you have to understand that all of us are expanding. So one quick way to know if I'm fulfilling my role, if I can objectively compare myself with myself. Don't compare with anyone else. Don't compare with major actors and authors and influential figures. No. Me in this year versus me in 2020 versus myself in 2015 or whatever. Am I expanding? Am I reaching out to a new opportunities to help? If Allah has blessed me with more money, for example, am I donating more money? If Allah blessed me with a bigger network, am I utilizing my network to spread awareness? If Allah has blessed me with a skill, for example, writing, so can I write a blog? Or maybe it doesn't have to be me, myself, writing that blog. It could be helping someone else in their blog, helping someone else with their research, so that both of us can work together. So one quick way to know, Sister Fatin, is to look at what you are doing right now and compare it with a snapshot of yourself earlier. Ibn Ata'Allah Secondary used to say, in a general sense, إذا أردت أن تعرف عند الله مقامك فانظر أين أقامك. So if you really want to know and understand and appreciate your status in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you have to know, where did Allah use you? Did Allah put you in a position? Did Allah put you in a capacity that's serving? If that capacity is that of service, then alhamdulillah, that's great. So again, this is an ongoing question. In the boot camp, in the course, we will try to suggest metrics, ways to measure impact, ways to measure how am I helping a cause, both in quality and quantity. And quickly, some way to measure, to help measure our impact is either by the amount of people we're helping. If I help more people with a very thin, with a very superficial way, then that's way to helping. So either helping more people in an inch depth deep, or helping fewer people but a bigger margin. So that's one way to look at that, and there's different ways and metrics we can use, inshallah. But that's a very good question, and that's where we need to learn best practices on how to measure our impact. What gets measured and what gets measured gets managed. The more we measure something, the more we can, inshallah ta'ala, have control over it, inshallah. And if anyone has any answer to this, that's a very good question. I would love to hear your answers, guys. Barakallahu feekum, jazakumullah khair. Okay, barakallahu feekum ya jama'ah, jazakumullah khair. Inshallah ta'ala, we'll be in touch bi'idhnillah about this course and about other projects that I will be part on as we get into 2024 bi'idhnillah. جزاكم الله خير. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.